So staying on True North to your life was not that easy. And then you said there was a moment in time where you felt like you belonged and you found your course again. We're talking True North against all odds. We would definitely look at your life and say, wow, against the odds, look at this wonderful whole person. What would you say to us today? We may not be facing challenges like we've lost a leg, but that we have suffered maybe loss in our lives. Maybe someone's dealing with a sickness or a disease in their body. Maybe they have a death sentence from a diagnosis of a doctor. Or maybe it's something that's happened in a family where there's betrayal or sexual abuse or something that it was not their fault. And now they found themselves off their course, off their destiny. And the last thing they are thinking is a life back to wholeness. And can you give us some encouragement? Can you give us some thoughts? Can you tell us what you think?
Absolutely. So, and I want this message hopefully to make some resonance with you, but a lot of you are probably sitting there saying like, well, I've never, been in a fire and lived through the horrors of an orphanage and grown up as an amputee. But my message and my point is still the same, and that's that even when I didn't know that God existed, when I was in the orphanage, we were never taught faith, religion, any of that stuff, God. But I can say now for a fact that I know all along that I was a child of His, and that He allowed everything to happen in my life for a reason, and that He had a hand on every single event that took place. And that's what I'm telling you today, is that even when you think that God is not there, when you think you're helpless, you're at that broken, shattered to pieces, He is there. And my message is really just to stay faithful and to follow Him. And when you think you don't have any ounce of faith to give to Him or anything else to give to Him, I hope that you will yourself, because there are times where you are going to have to do that. You have to will yourself to continue to follow Him. And one of my favorite songs is a song called Follow You by Leland. I encourage you to look it up. It's a really, really great song. And some of my favorite lyrics from the song is, when I was dead, you gave me life. I will follow you into the homes of the broken to meet the needs of the poor and the needy. I will follow you into the world. And there was a time throughout much of my life that I wasn't ready to follow God in that kind of way. I wasn't willing to go to the ends of the earth for Him. And it was later on that I discovered, and that He revealed Himself to me, that I'm going to take care of you. I have seen every tear that you've cried. I've held every hurt, every broken piece of your life, and I've made you whole, and I've put them back together. And the song earlier we sang, in the lyrics, says that He makes all things new. And He's done that time and time and time again in my life. Whenever I've reached that state, or in going back to get the healing and going back to those awful experiences and times, I was just absolutely broken. But He was able to take all of those pieces and to mend them together to make me the person I am now. Yes. And so I use my past as a source of strength and as an example of what God has done for me. And every once in a while, He'll remind me whenever I'm like, oh, where are you? Like, I don't know how this is going to work out, or I'm really, really just struggling right now. He says, look where I brought you, and look where I'm going to take you. And one of my favorite Bible verses is Jeremiah 29:11. I would say this every single day growing up, and my mom instilled that verse in us. And it says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, and plans to give you hope and a future. And that's what He wants for each one of us, regardless of where you're at, what age, what you're experiencing. He has plans to give you a hope and a future. And now I can say that I would be willing to go to the darkest corners of the globe for Him, to follow Him. And I know that some of your struggles seem so great, and you think that nothing will change your fate. But I'm living proof that that's not true, because I've seen the miracles that He's done in my life. I never thought I would ever leave that orphanage. And if I did ever leave that orphanage, it was going to be on the street, and working as a beggar. And I thought that that would be pretty much the destination of my life. But now I can say I've seen that he's totally changed that. And so I hope that you stay firm and that you stay steadfast and on that track and heading towards true north, and that you seek out the people that you need to keep you there.
Scout, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Just before we move on to another portion of the service, is there anything else you'd just like to share with us? I know that yesterday we spent several hours together, and I know there's just hours of things you could say, but thank you for sharing. And anything else you'd like to say? Oh yes. Can you tell us about this?
Okay. So this is the first leg I ever, or we should say prosthesis. I'm not sure if you can even say that because prosthesis is such a technical term, and this is clearly not very technical. But you can see that you can hear the clanking. It's very loosey. And I was so small that I didn't even fit into this leg. It didn't even stay on. So I would have to hold it by the belt straps on top because they didn't even go small enough.
And you had to walk like this.
And I had to walk holding the leg, even if I was wearing pants. And so this is how I got around. And obviously you can see I've come a very long way. I remember when I came here and my prosthetist, not to get that confused with something else. What a terrible occupational name, right? I mean, oh, goodness. She looked at it and she was like, oh, my goodness, where have you been? You know, because we don't make things like this in the United States, anything close to looking like this. So it's a piece of history. But before
Tell us what this is.
Oh, okay. So you can see that there's a hole in the back of this leg, and the hole was made because I had a bone growing out the back of my limb here because I had no revisions or amputation or surgery after the fire occurred. So because nothing was taken care of, things were happening that weren't supposed to happen. And it wasn't until I was 8 years old, after my first year here, that we had to have that amputation done. But before I go, I want to share some love with my family. They're all here, my sister and my dad and my mom and Carter. You can't do this journey alone, and during those really difficult times, you need people around you to support you, to love you, and to hold you. And my family has done that for me, and so I'm so, so grateful. And I say that they have given me more courage and strength to last a lifetime. And that's certainly true. So thank you so very much for giving me the honor and privilege of being able to share this with you. And if you have any questions later, feel free to ask. But to him be the honor and glory.
Amen. Thank you, Scott. I tried to help her off the stage in the first service, and she's a very capable young woman.